Hello, good morning or good evening to anyone who's watching this. Before I start, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Alyosha Rizqullah Akbar. I'm an Indonesian student from the School of Business and Management in Institut Teknologi Bandung, a university in Indonesia. And I'm here to present my paper, uh, which is titled The Strategic Adaptation in the Food and Beverage Industry, Navigating New Food Marketing Regulations. But before I begin, I would also like to express my gratitude towards a few people. Firstly, all my colleagues and the people who have supported me throughout this research, and also the Fifth International Conference on Management, Education, Social Sciences, and Innovation 2024, or as better known as ICMSC 2024. So this here is the overview or the table of contents that I will be presenting on this paper. We'll be starting with the introduction, followed by the problem statement, then the methodology that I used, the results and discussion, and finally the conclusion. Beginning with the introduction. So, the food and beverage industry is among the oldest industries in the world. The start of the industry was dated back in 1782 when the first modern restaurant was opened in Paris. And ever since then, till to this day, the industry has not stopped developing and evolving to the point where we can now safely say that humans are unable to live without the food and beverage industry. Now, one of the key activities of the food and beverage industry is the marketing, and it's just something that the food and beverage industry should focus on. And with that being said, the method of marketing that is used by the food and beverage industry has evolved throughout the years. Uh, since the industry keeps on evolving and developing, the business that operates within the industry will have to be able to adapt to changes to stay competitive. And by doing so, they need to create and come up with new marketing strategies that they can implement. Additionally, also, the effects of globalization, the advancement of technology, and also, which is one of the most important thing, is the constant change in customer preferences keeps these businesses on their toes. They indirectly push these businesses to be able to create new strategies to be able to market their products to the customers. And these changes can both negatively and positively affect the marketing strategy of the industry. And also, one thing to note is that these changes have a possibility to lead to new policies being implemented due to the significant impact that the industry has on the humans. And this brings us to the problem statement that I will be discussing uh, on this paper. So, in 2023, the World Health Organization released a new guideline. This guideline explains about the policies on food marketing. So, the WHO in 2023 recommends member states to implement these guidelines that they have made to decrease the negative effects that the HFSS foods or high in saturated fat, salt, and sugar and unhealthy drinks towards children around the world. Back in 2010, there was already guidelines that was already endorsed by member states. However, the World Health Organization believed that these guidelines showed no results, leading to them creating new guidelines in 2023. Now, how does this affect the food and beverage industry? Well, with the World Health Organization pushing member states to implement stricter rules, the food and beverage industry will have less leeway in their marketing strategy. They will need to be able to adapt since if these policies are being implemented by the member states, they would need to change their way of marketing so that they can market their products while still also following the guidelines that were made by the World Health Organizations. This can be a problem because these marketing strategies that are being implemented right now cost a lot of money. So if they would need to change their marketing strategy suddenly, they would need to first research and also make sure that the marketing strategy that they are going to implement both follows the guidelines but also works for the customers. Moving on to the methodology I used in this paper, which is a questionnaire. So the questionnaire was created using the online tool called Google Forms. This is a screenshot of one of the sections in the Google Forms. Uh, the reason behind using Google Forms is because through the age of the internet, it will be much easier for me to send it to as many people as possible. And also, the online tool of Google Forms all automatically compiles the responses and converts it into charts that I need, that I can pick also the type of chart. So this will make it easier and more efficient for me to analyze the data that was collected through the questionnaire. So the questionnaire itself will have 15 questions comprising of both quantitative and qualitative questions. There will be a total of 14 quantitative questions and one qualitative question, but that qualitative question is not required. It's like a follow-up question to one of the quantitative questions. I will be explaining more on the questions in the results and discussions, which is now. During this part of the presentation, I will be explaining a few of the questions and the questions that I think is the most impactful towards the study and how it brings new insight to the study that I'm conducting. So this is the first question, which is also the first question of the questionnaire. As you can see, I asked what type of food marketing do you find most persuasive or noticeable? And I gave answer choices of five different answer choices, but they can select more than one question answer. And the answer choices that were all given represent a few of the most common marketing strategies used by businesses, which is on marketing, social media marketing, real-time marketing, television marketing, and sponsorships. And from the result, we can see that the most persuasive marketing method that they think used by the food and beverage industry is social media posts by influencer. This shows how these influencers actually influence the customers in their purchasing decisions. However, another method that was chosen quite a lot, other than the influencers, is online advertisements. So, as we can see here, the internet itself has become a very powerful weapon in marketing, and it's already being taken advantage of use and being used by the food and beverage industry. Moving on to the second question of the questionnaire is how often did these respondents encounter what they would classify as aggressive food marketing? So in the questionnaire itself, I also put the definition of what I think is aggressive food marketing, which is the act of direct and pressuring marketing of foods that are high in fat, salt, or sugar, which are considered unhealthy for consumers, especially children. And a total of 54 respondents say that they encounter aggressive food marketing often. However, a very important thing to note is that none of the respondents have answered with never. So that means that all 108 respondents of the questionnaire have at least encountered aggressive food marketing once. Then we also have the third question is which of the following tactics do you associate with aggressive food marketing? And the basis of this question is quite similar with the first question. They are allowed to answer with one more than one choice. This is due to the fact that the respondent may associate more than one tactic with aggressive food marketing. And from the results, we can see that high frequency of advertisement is a tactic that people associate with aggressive food marketing the most, followed by the use of influencers or celebrities. And also, but we can't also forget the other choices because all of them have more than 20 respondents answering it. This is one of the questions that I also think is important to the study is that do you think aggressive marketing tactics by the food and beverage industry influence your food and beverage choices? And as you can see from the results, more than 50% of the respondents are on the agreeing side, which means that they either agree or strongly agree with the statement. And only about 9% of the respondents are in the disagreeing side, which shows how people are aware of the impact of aggressive food marketing and they also realize that these aggressive food marketing influence their purchasing decisions. Another question from the questionnaire that I think is important is that do you believe aggressive marketing strategies target specifically younger consumers? Which almost 70% of the respondents answered to yes, and 20.4% answered with unsure, and 10.2% answered with no. So with the majority of the respondents in agreement with the statement, we can safely say that the customers do believe and do realize that these aggressive marketing strategies target the younger consumers. And the final question that I think is also one of the most important to the study is, how likely are you to support food and beverage companies that prioritize ethical and non-aggressive marketing practices? And from the results, we can see that almost 70% of the respondents are on the likely side. They will be willing to support the companies that prioritize ethical and non-aggressive marketing practices, with only about 8% of the respondents that do not care about these ethical and non-aggressive marketing practices. And from the results that we can see that we have got collected from the questionnaire, we can move on to the conclusion. And to reiterate, the study's main objective is to dive and explore the marketing activities of the food and beverage industry and how it impacts the consumers and the society. The argument made previously is that these policies that are implemented uh, can affect the food and beverage industry, since the food and beverage industry often use aggressive food marketing tactics. And these aggressive food marketing tactics done by the industry can be considered as unethical. And from both the literature review and empirical findings from the questionnaire, it reinforces the aggressive food marketing claims. While marketing is a pivotal tool for the food and beverage industry, they have the possibility to have ethical and health implications. This happens when the marketing utilized is considered as aggressive marketing, especially towards vulnerable groups. As mentioned before, the respondents all believe that these aggressive food marketing primarily targets the younger consumers, and it is and these aggressive food marketing tactics are not good for these younger consumers. And what the food and beverage industry should do is that they should try to shift more into the more ethical and non-aggressive way of marketing, since these companies may be concerned about the cost and also whether the marketing would be successful or not, and whether the people will support it or not. Well, from the results that we got from the questionnaire, we can see that um, the respondents are all likely to support food and beverage companies that are implementing ethical and also non-aggressive food marketing tactics. So these food and beverage industries should not be concerned about whether the marketing will fail or not, because the people will keep supporting these businesses as long as they are doing ethical and non-aggressive food marketing. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening. Before I end this, I would again would like to express my gratitude towards my colleagues, my professors, and also IC Messi 2024 for giving me the opportunity to present this paper and also work on this paper. Thank you very much.